All right, everyone. Welcome to our February target discussion of 2014. This is aesthetic impact, and I know that I don't have a page up where you can see it just yet. I'm going to switch over to my desktop and explain what's going on and what I'd like to see happen tonight. It might take a little work on our parts, but there's a lot of opportunity for sharing of remote viewing sessions and retasking and move commands. And we have a large crowd here for us. Well, we have 10 people and people coming and going. And Lynn Buchanan is here to offer his input, and we have that rich background as far as he helps with session work across the realm of remote viewing. He's a controlled remote viewer instructor and trainer, but he speaks remote viewing across the board, so it helps us because Lynn's here and can explain what different methodologies do insofar as perception-based remote viewing, how they report, and just because it's not in our particular format, we still learn quite a bit. And we appreciate everyone's being here and contributing and Lynn's input, because without all of us as a group, the flowing goes at a much slower rate. The learning happens at a much slower rate when you are by yourself, kind of going on trial and error. But when we share, everything accelerates and aha moments happen more quickly and insights and, oh, I didn't realize that. So anyway, let me switch over to my desktop. And all right, first, before we start with the feedback, and I know you guys just really need to see that feedback, and I understand. However, I would like to show you why it's important that you document your session work. If we're ever going to all work together, we have to be able to report and understand. And it's not that one template is any better than another. It's just that we found that certain things keep us all on the same page a little more quickly. So when you guys are retasked on the session, if you're not familiar with the format, what you need to do is, I just grabbed a snapshot of my admin from one of my sessions. I didn't put the coordinates in here. I didn't want it feeding into our feedback for this session. But this is an example of the admin section up on the right. However you do your admin section, it's fine. But then we really need you to come down, and if you have been retasked on a sketch, you need to take a JPEG of that sketch and insert it at the top of your session on your first page, right underneath your admin stuff, your name and whatever else it is that you document. If you're not, you may be retasked on a sketch or you may be retasked on a perception. So what I'm saying is, if you, and I didn't want to put anything in here and feed it into the feedback for your session today. So if you have been retasked on a sketch, you need to, it should be in a JPEG form, or you can turn it into a JPEG form and insert it right here at the top, and then come under there and write the retasking exactly how it is given to you. So if you've been, tell me more about the perception, or tell me about that which you have sketched, you need to write that exactly as it was given to you. Don't think and don't change it up, because the wording is very, very important. The wording needs to be neutral, and you could throw yourself off target by just one word. And it's nice to think that the subconscious always does what it's supposed to do and always, goes to the right target. But if you, my latest thing is, like, you move to the tasker's intent, move to the tasking. Don't move to the tasker's intent. So the same thing applies with retasking. You need to put it down exactly as it's been given to you. And then you come down, and when you're ready, you start your session. Okay, and so later on, if anybody has any questions about that, we can review it. But I just thought of that a little bit ago, and I thought, Teresa, show these folks what you mean. You know, it will help them rather than just an explanation. It might help to see. Like I said, I just couldn't put in a sketch because I didn't want to have the wrong location up for what you were doing tonight. And I need to get my chat window up so I can see you and your questions and get functional here. All right, and who else is here? Mojo's here. All right. So I talked this target over with Lynn. Number one, if you guys do a stellar job, we can't tell other people about it as easily if we've got pictures off the net and we have copyright issues. So I'm trying really hard to find targets that have been donated or I have control of the images. So one of you actually, I think it was maybe John Stewart, thought that something seemed weird, like he'd been here before or something, and he may very, very well have, because this location gives us a really good opportunity to view some landmarks. Sorry, you can tell I've been on vacation. And this is the 25th, I think. Is this 25th? I know I should know that.
26.
26th, oh, thank you. Only been, awake for a few hours now. I think I'd know that by now. Yeah, they're right there if I'd have just slowed down and paid attention. All right, just so that makes it onto the recording. All right, the plan with this, and I talked it over with Lynn because we've got different viewers, different methodologies, different skill levels, and how to get this into a format that allows you an opportunity to practice move commands and come in on target and just more than just wandering around a target, to give you a chance to do something in a purposeful way. So, and this is like having a monitor without me sitting across from you. This is kind of sort of the best exercise I could come up with for a mixed group. And Lynn came across, or offered up after we roundtabled it for a little bit, the point A, point B, point C. Because I was afraid, if I had you turn and face and move this direction or move that direction. I actually went to this location with a compass. And he came up with the neutral point A, point B, point C, and I said, let's give it a go. Because, I've shut my own webcam off. Isn't that a shame? See if I can turn it back on. There we go. Point A, point B, point C was neutral. I thought it would be the least confusing. And so that's what we ran with. And like I said, I wanted to give you the opportunity to move around. So yes, some of you have actually viewed this target before. This is the coffee house in Urbana, Ohio. It used to be a train station. It has a rich history insofar as the building and the train station. So when you made sight contact, this is where you should have been. And yes, I truly, it really is random that the discussion this month was about describing a building. That really was not the point. It did coincide, but it was not front-loading. We'll be doing more discussions, and the target won't be associated. It just looks like this one is. So anyway, here's the outside of this building. It's point A. It's where you should have made sight contact. It should have been what you were striving to do. The outside shot, you can see You know, there's a logo up above the window. There's an arched doorway. There are windows in the front. There are windows around on the side. They're paned. It's made of a mix of brick and I think possibly limestone. There are flowers out front. And I am going to apologize in a minute because I actually, like I said, went to this location. The images are on my iPhone, which right before I went on vacation got dropped into some water. I've not had a chance to get back up to the store to pick it up because I had insurance and I have a new one, but my pictures should be okay. But the ones that I wanted to show you tonight are in that iPhone. So, but we have pictures. So here is the inside of the coffee shop as you see it right now. I took these pictures. I'm facing the area, obviously, where there's chairs and there are books in the back, bookshelves. You can see paneling on the sides. The floor is wooden. There's a rug. And behind me is the area where they're preparing sandwiches, soups, various coffees, obviously, you would expect, and making cooking noises, cooking smells. Here's a little bit closer shot. And if we do Somewhere Back in Time someday, that's actually that bottle of juice sitting on the mantle. I put it there. So like the movie Somewhere in Time, maybe I'll bump into Christopher Reeve. All right, and another shot off to the side so you can see what the interior looks like. So if you landed in this building and are describing it from the inside, that's okay. You now have interior and exterior shots. Point B is behind it. It's a cell phone tower, and I did have better pictures. I took them 4 or 5 weeks ago. I'm not sure. There's no foliage there in those pictures, and you can actually see the tower. And it is, I think, 30 degrees to the northwest possibly, because I ran it by Lynn. So this was point B.
You sure that's a cell phone tower?
I looked it up once. I can't find it anyplace. It looks like, I found it like in a blog or when we first did this target.
It looks like the city water supply.
I agree, and I keep looking for water filtration and all kinds of other stuff, but this also looks like towers that I've seen. Where was I? Just was in Minnesota. So I agree. It looks like water filtration. It looks like water supply. I can't find it any place except I did find it several months or last year in an advertising type website, and I have not been able to find it since. And of course, you know, did I call the city of Urbana? Oh no, I didn't do that. Could have. I need a secretary. So anyhow, this is a very tall towered structure, and it sits directly, almost not quite directly, behind the coffee shop. That's point B. However, when we get to your sessions, and Lynn can address this, this isn't necessarily the primary target because there are 3 targets, but a lot of you went right to this one. I'm not sure. We could run statistics. Maybe some of you ran this target before and you blew off the coffee shop and went right to this one, or maybe you're attracted to, there's at least one of you that if there's a tower in sight, that's where that viewer goes. So if I ever think I need something looked at in a tower, I'm contacting that viewer. But, and if, you know, obviously it would be blind, but then point C, we're going to use Google Earth here in a minute and do the best we can because again, my pictures are in my iPhone. Point C is the granary or feed mill, which is the other direction. You can see, here's the coffee shop if you can appreciate this. The coffee shop, point A, the tower, point B, and the granary is point C. And I asked for purposes of each of these, and so I was hoping that it would give you an opportunity to practice move commands, and each of them would be distinctive in what they did, and therefore it would be distinctive in what you saw. So here is, actually I included Google Earth. I don't know if I can probably blow this image up. Son of a gun. Here, let me orient myself. Power. Aha, here we go. Here is down at the bottom, about at 7 o'clock, on o'clock would be the coffee shop. The granary is more like 8 o'clock, and the tower is back here at 1 o'clock. So you can orient yourselves. Several of you got a large body of water. We would need to research that with Google Earth. I don't know that I want to spend any time on that tonight, since we have this image here, but there is a bike path that goes around here, so if you got athletics, there is many manufacturing things around there, so if you got any of that insofar as surrounding stuff. There is an old railroad track here where the bike path is. There's a large hill off to the right, comes down, and I think some of you were getting that in session as far as elevation goes. So there you have the basic overview and what I was trying to give us an opportunity to practice and discuss. Let's see if I can minimize this and hopefully get some sessions up in a not too sloppy fashion. That's the next thing. Some of you in your training are not, you didn't want to be retasked, you just wanted to turn in one session. So I think I'm going to look at those first. Here is Bob's, and it's 7 pages. And he's been practicing for a few weeks now. We're going to scroll down just to see if we can touch on sketches and get to his summary. There's only 7 pages. I need to rotate this. See how fast I can do these on command today. And that's not it. Rotate view, that would be it. And I even did it right side up. All right, so I'm trying to figure out what he's got insofar as structure. Let me rotate his summary back. All right, so his summary, aspects of structure, energetic, land, and water. Structure has clean smell, neutral taste associated with it. It's cool temp, and the sounds are echoing. And I know that I've possibly confused you because that image was summertime versus winter, and I'm really sorry. Temp is cool, sounds are echoing. Coloring is damp gray, white and blue, brown interspersed. Luminance is dim. There's a concept of health significance and meaning of well-being there. Meaning of relaxation associated to the structure. It appears multi-structural in measurement, uniform pattern, group position for easy access in side-by-side manner. Shapes are rounded and squared, and it is medium in size. Structure thick with laid-back ambiance. There are multi-unit components, one relating to another to make a whole structural composition. Very solid, well-built, and emotions present are calm. Energetics present are calm and quiet. There's healing green in color associated with it. Healing is concept. There's deep, peaceful meaning. Its motions are gentle with rest being the purpose. There's a horizontal alignment to the energetics, which are smooth texturally, lightweight, and emotionally serene. Land has botanical smelling aspects, balmy, cool temps, breezy, whirring sounds present. The coloring has blue, green, brightly luminous. Concept of escape associated with it and meaning of tranquility. Position of land appears to be detached for the purpose of being by itself. There's water associated and land takes on an island-like shape, which it is small in size and remote in ambiance. Now, I would like to point out, it's kind of difficult to pick up on this feedback, that this coffee shop does sit in a triangle. So concept-wise, you think the word island, is someplace in the middle of the ocean. But, if you think of it in concept, it's a possibility that could be this, and this one doesn't show it as well. It does sit at an intersection, and it's catty corner. That's what I'm trying to say. The road runs at an angle in front of it. All right, so that's Bob's session, and if you'd like to offer any comments, Bob, Lynn, if you want to jump in, this would be the time.
Well,
I thought it was a good.
He nailed the ambiance on that thing, didn't he?
I thought so. I mean, if he's supposed to come in at the coffee shop, to me, he described what I expect to find at a coffee shop.
That's right. He aced that part of it, man, I tell you.
I thought so, too. And, without, everybody getting into the big discussion about waffling the sketch or whatever, I'm tipping my head sideways. And structural annex, when you go in this door, there is an annex. Those big wooden doors open up into a foyer, and then there's another set of doors where you go on into the building. So I'm not sure if, Bob, if you want to clarify, I should not assume. But if I were to look at that, there is an annex, which is the same thing conceptually as a foyer or entryway. And, he does have some rounded aspects on this sketch. There are rounded windows, an arched door. But now we've got structural annex off at the side. So can you clarify what that means to you, Bob, structural annex?
Yeah, when I was doing the session, I could remember that I was seeing three.
Three.
Three, yeah. I didn't write three in the summary, but there was a concept of three, and I think you had mentioned earlier that there were three, something about three separate structures. Buildings, yeah. So that's what I was seeing there. And I kind of saw it as an open concept. So when I wrote the summary, I didn't really write open concept. I just wrote that it seemed to have an open structure with a main entryway, so to speak.
Okay.
And yeah.
You do have water here in front, and there is a stream right there. For me to get these images, I am parked for the most part across the street, and there's a stream that runs along there.
Okay.
So you can't appreciate it. And like I said, I went my whole vacation without that iPhone, and I lost, hopefully everything's not lost that was on it, but really wishing I could have gotten my hands on it for tonight. But anyway, so how do you think you did? Did you think you did pretty well with this session?
Yeah, I think it went quite well. Always can be improved, though, I think. Yeah, I think it was fairly good.
Yep. As Lynn and I both said, for the atmosphere of a coffee shop, that's what I would expect at one. I mean, you didn't smell coffee or get clinking noises of dishes or anything like that. But you got a lot of good information, I think. So thank you. I appreciate that. Anything else?
No, just thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Can I speak to something there?
Well, of course.
For every site that you'll ever get in remote viewing, unless it's maybe a vase sitting on a shelf or something, there are going to be thousands of things that you could get, but you won't. And so in scoring sessions, we never count off on what you don't get. Because this, again, is training for operations. When you, let's say, work for the police or someone like that, they don't care what you don't get. What they care about is if you get something, can they depend on it to be true? And so what you don't get is not a scorable. We never take off for anything that you don't get. What you do get is what gets scored. It's what you get judged on as a viewer, because once you go operational, that's what people are going to judge you on. Not what you don't get, but the accuracy of what you do. And so don't worry about what you don't get. Sure, it could be better. Every session I ever do, I look at it and think, man, if I'd gone one more page, and every session could be better because there are 1,000 things you're going to miss. Don't worry about it.
Alrighty then. Also, I am not sure if I'm going to pronounce this correctly, if it's Pame or Pam. I think she's not here, but we're going to go over this really quickly. I think she might be one of Pam Coronado's students and had never done a webinar before. She thought she'd give it a go. And so she tucked this summary at the bottom of her WebEx note or invitation that she got. So anyway, describe a building, she wrote with the coordinates, and wrote curved white or light reflected top, maybe a soft top. The words insulin, Thursday, mall, ocean level, oil, Edward, Andrew, Shirley, I don't know what EBER is, lamp, guitar, girl, upstairs, and dark. Sounds, someone speaks with a foreign accent, European. Smells, sweet confection. Sight, a blue glow of light. And then
question.
Yeah.
Question, Teresa. Is that describe a building, or is that describe building?
She put that down. She put that down because people are confusing the coordinates with front loading.
Okay. But I saw this on the other two. Is that describe a building, or is that describe building A?
Oh, I see what you're asking me. I'm sorry. Describe a building, which is the February topic for discussion.
Okay, good deal.
So, okay. I see what you're saying about that. Gotcha. And then we've got her sketches. We've got shapes. There are other shapes, like tenths of different shapes. And I guess it's just those 4 sketches. So I did want to make sure that we did not overlook her session when we get into the ones that were recapped. So I wish she was here. She seems really eager to learn and participate. I would have liked to have had her have a moment to talk to us about it. Then let's see, Adeline sent in 1 session and not retasked, so we'll go ahead and go over that. And let's see, just making sure she did, because she's been at this target before. And I wanted to see if she had any POCAs or advanced visuals. And she's got her sketch here, which she always, the phase 3 sketch, she'll number and put her perceptions below it. And then she also includes them down in her summary. So another sketch, and looks like we've got some water there. And another sketch, and a star. If there are stars around, I don't know, a star shape. We do have this image that it's actually a train. This was a train depot, so that image in the center of that placard is a locomotive with a cow shovel. Is that right? On the front, cow scoop. All right, let's go down to her summary, and she is over in the UK and can't stay awake always, but she loves to catch up with us on our recording, so I'll make sure that we address her summary. And target field, actually her session was one of the ones that I used in my article for 8 Martinis. What do we call that one? Air 3 Medicine, controlled remote viewing in Air 3 Medicine. And her sketches of the interior of this as well as the outside were in that issue of 8 Martinis. So anyway, the target feels like a location where there are elements of land, man-made, water, biological. Overall target colors are blue, gray, brown, green, white, and red. Target is bright with high contrast to its surroundings. Overall target temperature is cold. So back and forward motion at the site. Land is high up, is tall and steep. I can vouch for that off to, if you're facing this image, it does get very steep off to the right. Land appears rocky and irregular with chunky outcrops and feels crumbly, has both rough and smooth areas that are cold and icy to the touch. Land tastes chalky and smells earthy. Overall colors of the land are gray, brown, buff, black, and sparse areas of green. Man-made, that is cylindrical and hollow and has a pointed top and elements that are curved, arched over, and also there appear to be stepped levels. Part of the man-made feels gritty, wet, and slippery. There is red and white striped area to the man-made, and there appears to be a star-shaped sign that is bold, yellow, and then printed in 3D on the side of the man-made. Part of the man-made is high wooden metallic beam-like area. Clanging, ringing, tick-tock, and wah-wah sounds can be heard, and a low-hum electronic noise can be heard along with voices. Overall colors of the man-made are white, silver, red, and yellow. The water is deep, rough, choppy, frothy, appears fluffy. Crashing sounds can be heard, and overall colors are aqua blue, sea green, and white. And there's a biological out of sight, can be plural, have happy voices, and seem joyful, proud, and excited. The purpose of the target is celebrating, remembering, worship, and workplace. And just so you know, your viewers, do not go here was a stray cat for her. It's not safe for her because she's in a wheelchair. And she felt that she should not go here because it was not safe. It feels dangerous for me. So Lynn, if you might want to jump in there and comment on that AI that is her feeling from the site. I thought that was pretty spot on and interesting.
Yeah. When you have the AI like that, for those who haven't heard me on my soapbox before, when you have an AI like that, it's the fact that you have put your mind at the site and it's in front of me means I'm at the site, okay? And at that point, basically, your, quote, remote viewing task is sort of over. And at that point, basically, all you have to do is start looking around you and describing and listening to what's around you, whipping, sniffing the air, banging on things, kicking things, running your hand across things, slapping things, and walking here, walking to the left, walking to the right, and so on, and just interacting with the site because you're there. And so once you have that AI, which is always indicated by your spatial relation to the site, it is in front of me, means I'm there. Once you have that, then don't worry so much about the structure. Just go sketch and see what you can kick and bang onto and smell and touch and taste. And by the way, Teresa, if you're going to give her full feedback on this, you have to go taste the land.
Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, and actually she's really good, has always been really good about saying whether something tastes stony. She's
That is
always
good.
she's always been very good, even before she started CRV training, because she was teaching herself CRV from the manuals that you can find online. But she always included tasting whatever it was, whether it was limestone steps or bricks or rocks or whatever. She always used that sense and tried to get information or uses. But she did have a stray cat of a lighthouse, and I cannot find anything that's star-shaped in this. But both that granary and the cell tower are tall, or I think it's a cell tower. That tower is tall, the granary is tall. The granary is more pointed. I don't really see any perceptions that tell me what activity might go on at either one that would indicate which one it might be. But she, as I said, just sent in one session. And I should have looked to see, move to my assigned target in Sketch. And did she give herself a move command? We're still going to the assigned target. I don't think, no, she didn't. She didn't practice move commands as far as A, B, and C. Okay. Let me just grab Pat's. All right, so here is Pat's first session, and I was really hoping, here's Pat's second session. I have these all up, labeled them, so that they are all target whatever, whatever. And I don't know what ate that second session up. It'll be on this computer someplace. And it's not WebEx, it's just, I couldn't figure out where it downloaded. All right, so Pat's first session, target is in a valley, appears to be close or inside a low-story structure, man-made building, illumination on top, also along with long windows. Car park partly encloses the building with multiple vehicles present, at least 2 vehicles, and M is significant in some way. Then M letter, and I don't know of anything insofar as that letter. However, moving to the A, B, and back again, he was actually starting out and almost moving in an M. Now, I don't know if the subconscious would consider that as a possibility. I'm not confirming that. I'm just saying if his subconscious was noticing those move commands, he was going, he was his first session in, so I had him going up and then come back and then go up and then come back. So that's just me, that little explanation. So he's got join chip, inset, rise, slope. Oh, that's the slope curve and a thin with a question mark, and it's possible AOL thin and streamline. Wave, flat, CD dip, fall, and tumble land. And he's got roll down and valley. So man-made cooking structure, journey, location, B, hamburger. They don't actually sell burgers there unless they're possibly like vegan, vegetarian. They don't fry burgers there is what I'm getting at. They make all kinds of sandwiches. But hamburger being a sandwich, he AOL'd that appropriately, and they sell a lot of sandwiches there. Temperature seems very hot. Some areas very cold, mostly room temperature indoors, liquid and soft. There's a hard area. He's got an AOL wall. He tastes chocolate. They do sell chocolate there. Cup, tables, colors, red, green, white, and blue. Lots of primary colors, lots of plastic, neon, and bright. Red brick building. Yes, there is, Terry, a red brick building. They're also red on the interiors. Oh, red brick man-made building, low story with colored lights and neon on top. Can't vouch for that, unless he's picking that up. I thought maybe there might be like even the lights that flash on top of tall things that he's picking up from one of the other structures. But his assigned target is definitely a red brick man-made building that's low story. And many light bulbs, I don't think, unless it's Christmas, and I wasn't there at Christmas time, so can't count that. Advertisement billboard. Then there is a building 5 or 6 meters by 6 to 7 meters, long windows, car, SUV, parked vehicles. AOLs of diner, rail car, car park. And I don't think that this feedback image has it, but there is a rail car sitting. If you face that building off to the right-hand side, there's a rail car. I thought that was way cool. Way to go, Pat. And nighttime, and it is a diner, by the way, and because the diner is a food establishment. Bright lights at night, currently location in daylight, after dark and twilight on feedback, and very illuminated with artificial light. Now his retasking, second section, okay. Targeted structural commercial food prep does not feel like a franchise, not more like small family business. Pizzeria is what the best match would be. Next best would be grill diner. Measures about 5 meters by 7 meters with drive-through sales access too. There's a veranda outside, but didn't score on the drive-through. Then he describes his ideogram. I tend to get that mixed up sometimes with his perceptions. Open air market. It's a social place. AOL, the open air market. Peak and flames burning gas hooks, and then sketch 2, the gas burner. Multiple, some are covered like grilling or frying area. There's stainless steel, polished and mirror-like, work surface, no chairs. Cold area, like door in the doorway, and chopping preparation area. There is that. Cooking, corner of the building. It's in the front corner. Dishwashing, cleaning unit. Now he's given himself a move command. Okay, now go through the door. Shelves, cold, frozen, vegetables, meat, dairy. Can't vouch for that. Like a step-in freezer. Now he's moved to area B to describe. There's a tall closed gap. There's a window. People on the other side, they talk over the space through the gaps. Hidden machinery accessible on their side of the counter. So he's fighting in his own head that he's still at point A, which he had really great sight contact. Also talk to people outside. I think one of these people is called Mo. I don't know. She feels like the boss. And then he's taken a break and resumed. Now he's going to go move to area C, which he's moving inside the building of the target A, or point A. Couches and tables. Walls are blue, floors pine wood. Tables are sparkly black, topped with glass. Perspex. Not sure what that is. That might be English. British. Eating area, I think, like fake marble. Couches are red colored, fake leather effect, but pretty comfortable. Feels like goodwill here. People like the place. And cold stored dishwasher, cooker, work surface ×2, fire exit main doors, counter, and toilet and washer. Yes, there is one. It's kind of hard to see his scanned in sessions. He and I have talked about that. I haven't really encouraged, I'm not going to make him go to a bunch of extra work to get these darker. But it's just great that he sent them in as it is. But just to recap, the furniture on the inside, why am I thinking there's some red furniture right there. It's cloth, it's not leather, pretty sure. I'm 90% sure it's not leather. I'll be back up there. If I find out otherwise, I'll let you know. But I thought that was a really good session. You described that inside of this building very accurately. Pat has never been afraid to speak up. So where are you? There you are. Do you have any comments? And Lynn, would you like to have any comments?
This looks good to me.
I must admit the wall colours are a lot more diverse than I thought, and the buildings
It's larger and it's more complex on the inside than I thought, but the outside of it is pretty good. I didn't get the electric stuff on the roof, but if you look at the shot, the feedback, you can see that on the feedback shot, it does look like there's some kind of gantry pointing out the roof. It's just an optical illusion, you know, there's something big behind it. So.
And I was thinking that same thing, because there's, well, on that structure behind it, I was trying to like mentally give you credit, not on a scoring thing, but if you're looking over the top of this, you can see the feed mill, the granary behind it. And for airplanes, there are blinking lights on that. So I'm not saying, you know, I'm not giving you a hand pat down, pat on the back, but
it's
you know,
a mistaken, it's a mistaken perception, but maybe that it didn't help. But one thing as well, there's a chimney there, and one thing I remember thinking was, how do they heat this place in the winter? And I just couldn't get an answer. It's sort of like, I don't know. I mean, look inside, you can see the fireplace, and it's very cozy. But I missed all that. I mean, you know, it's more complex than I had, and maybe I started off simple. And I just kept it simple. I certainly didn't want to move away from it. I saw. I was thinking, there's no directions here. There's no distances. So where do you want me to go for B and C? And I just thought, look, you're pretty happy with the building. Just describe it. Just enlarge on it, and generally it's one tag, one target. So there's other stuff there. Okay, but just try and amplify on what you got rather than, I mean, the last month was a bit of a wild goose chase. It was kind of everywhere. So I just thought, just stay in one place, just get where you can. And, one thing I noticed on the right up this place, they don't serve pizza, they do serve paninis. Which I was kind of, gratified that I wasn't right, but I wasn't too far wrong either. So yeah, I was quite happy with that. It's one of my better sessions, I think. I've put in some stinkers, but don't we all?
Well, you're a pretty typical viewer. You give yourself a little bit of credit, and then you beat yourself up for the next 5 sentences.
You haven't seen the outtakes, okay?
Well, and the things that you worry about that you didn't get. Now you're doing a great job. Now I don't know if you are, you know, I don't know how much I could look, but you could make a career out of describing this and getting the stuff you didn't get. But and take breaks till kingdom come. But another thing I wanted to give you guys the opportunity is, I told somebody else, which it'll come up, you don't know if I moved you from the basement to the attic or if I moved you 500 miles. And this just gives you an opportunity to actually get your hands in there and play with the clay. So rather than you deciding what move commands, it's like, hey, we're going to do a target this time. Well, you decide what move commands and you do this. Well, this time Teresa gave you some direction and got you out there in the sandbox and let you roam around a little bit. So anyway, I thought you did a pretty darn good job describing that coffee shop.
Thanks. Would you like the link for the Yelp write-up on this?
I'm sorry?
The link for the Yelp write-up on the place, the Urbana Depot Coffee House.
Oh, I don't think I didn't this time. Like I said, vacation.
Okay, I tell you, I'll just pop it onto the discussion place, and if people want to see it, they can look at it later. Okay.
Right. Actually, all you have to do is Google Urbana Coffee Shop, and it'll come up. Now, if you guys click on that right now, you're liable to get thrown out of WebEx. So if you want to multitask, copy paste that into a different browser. Okay. Because I've done that to people accidentally, and I learned. So, like I said, if you're on Explorer right now, pull up a different browser and copy paste that in. But there's a huge history with this. and one person actually AV'd train station.
Yeah, it was a train station. Okay, I'll shut up
Yes,
now.
it was.
Thanks.
It was a train station. And it has huge history. And again,
Good session.
yep, it was.
Thank you, Lynn.
I don't know why that. Oh, I just closed out the feedback, I think. Oh, I know where it's hiding. All right, so there's Pat. I did close out the feedback. All right, so who else is left on this page? We'll just go down. Let me grab Terry's. We'll go up here and find Terry, where to go. There we go, the bottom. And now that's the one that's open. All right. Told you we'd have a little challenge this evening. And don't need to get worried. There's nothing exciting here. It's all student sessions. So, all right. Get rid of some stuff. And if we need to get that feedback back, I will do that. But here's Terry's session. We've got, it's a big one. Terry, if you want to speak anytime, go ahead. She learned a lot, I think. I want to speak for her, but without being able to show her the feedback, and I just gave her some comments about her session after she first did it. She was in one building and stayed in one building, and she's the person that I explained you have to be objective and set aside any thinking or any analyzing in session. You get a perception and write it down, and you do your move commands as instructed. And she had it, fixed in her head that she was in one structure and she didn't move out of it. So I told her, I said, you don't know if I moved you from the basement to the attic or if I moved you 500 miles. And so she's got lots of sketches, and I'm not sure, I think that we're going down through this to see her sketches to get to her summary. But she's got a lot of tower stuff. So I think she fixated on point B from minute 1. I think she was drawn to that. Her last target, actually, that we did in January, she sketched another tower. And so I'm not saying that she bled her sessions through or did anything like that, but it's a similar target. So the target consists of a base structure accessed by biologicals from outside, feels fairly dark and tight within, and feels claustrophobic to me. I am claustrophobic.
Nice
Yeah.
AI.
Uh-huh. Sure. Lynn?
Yes. I say
Go ahead.
that was a nice AI.
Ah.
Feels
Where?
claustrophobic to me.
Oh, uh-huh.
There's an AI. She's there. That's a definite indicator that she has put herself in that place and it's feeling claustrophobic to her.
Gotcha. The base is something. Ascend upwards, possibly in a climbing manner to the man-made mounted at the top of the base. Feels tall and imposing as though it towers upward in gray sky. Powerful feeling to it. It feels like something spreads outward. If this were a monument, I'd say arms on each side at the same height and level of the man-made. And so she is getting an AOL of Lighthouse as well. And there's a sketch. spoke-like extensions. I've not been inside that tower. The granary does have several arms that come out from it. And if we get a minute, I'm going to put in a Google Earth thing.
If you look at that tower,
Yeah.
coming up the side are ridges that spread out into like arms underneath the upper top.
Let me get that feedback back up. I might as well just get it done. Okay, there we go. So her initial session, her summary reads, target has aspects of man-made space, biologicals, and water. Man-made consists of at least partially curved structure, serves as a base for an additional structure. Base can be accessed from the outside, however, the opening feels narrow and possibly tight. Impression of smoothness or pearliness to the entrance, which reminds me of a seashell. You get a sense of having to slip through the opening. The exterior of the base seems fairly substantial, large, and solidly built. Impression of this base being carved out. Rounded outness to at least one side of it, may have a light green colored hue to it and possibly horizontal striations, creating a swept across look to it. Exterior texture feels fairly rough. The interior of the base has a tucked in feel to it, seems dark and tight, or there may be areas within the base, not the entire base, that feel dark and tight. I get a sense of claustrophobia inside this space. Seems to have a musty, earthy, rocky smell. It also feels humid with a kind of dark, watery smell. Somewhat natural feel to the base. It is of man-made construction, but is built from the earth or with natural stone materials. Interior of the base feels like it spirals upward, like a spiraling staircase or passageway that leads to the top of the base. Which, Lynn, I was wondering, with no photos or whatever, the way a granary mill works, like an auger, that's only for consideration.
Yeah, like if this were a water tower or even a broadcast tower, tower, the stairs going up to the top where all the stuff is, whether it's a water tower or electronics, is going to have to be a spiral staircase.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know of any other kind of. Well, they could have a ladder going straight up.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
You know, it's but it's.
It would be logical.
It would be logical, and it would be probable that there would be a spiral staircase in here. Yeah.
Okay. Then the space element refers to the tight feeling of the interior of the base. It feels like constricted space. There's a platformed open area at the top of the base, which feels very open to the air after the interior base section. Appears to be a vertically tall man-made structure mounted to the base, which towers upward. Greenish hues, but seems lighter, possibly an ivory color. Seems narrower or thinner at the base. Tall and imposing, there's a powerful feeling attached to it. Seems very high up in the air, overlooks expansive view. It feels as though something branches outward in various directions from the top of this structure. Molded element to this target as though part of the exterior structure was formed and designed in a molded fashion. Maybe something that looks like a molded fold or roll of fabric, but it feels solid. There's an angled section of the target. It feels like something flows down from an angle, but it seems like this is a decorative stationary feature designed to imply flowing rather than liquid flowing down. It feels aesthetically graceful. This target has a somewhat older feel to it, as though it was constructed some time ago, although the time frame is unclear. Biologicals appear to be involved with this target, moving around and slipping inside the base from below and ascending upward. Maybe birds gathering at and flying from the top of the base. The water element refers to the feel of a large body of water that this target overlooks, which seems close by. The water itself seems fairly borderless, as though it extends out some distance. I'm just going to stick in a thought that if this is the water supply tower, we're probably talking aquifers or something that I can't see. Lynn, what do you think about that?
No, all water towers have the big tank up at the top.
Right.
The reason for that is so that gravity will cause water pressure throughout the whole town. That way they don't have to pump the water. They only have to pump water up into it. They don't have to pump pressure to the entire town. So that's why you have the big, huge tank up at the top. And that column that holds the top up, some is enclosed, some is not enclosed, and all that. And there's just vertical pipes in there. But if you have a water tank at ground level, it doesn't really produce hardly any pressure for the water pressure to feed out to the town.
Well, if any of the rest of you have any luck Googling, what this structure is in Urbana, I'm going to have to end up calling the city to find out what this is. But it was a lot of you are getting water, big water. And so I thought, that might definitely be part of an answer. But go ahead, Lynn.
No, that was what I had to say.
Okay.
Well, even if this is an antenna array, the fact is that all of the antennas would be up at the top, and all of the access to those antennas would be through the center. And so what you'd have in the center is spiral staircase or ladders going up, and maybe equipment down there, generators or something like that. If it's a water tower, you have the water tower, the water tank sitting up high, and then in this base part, that's just access and structure to hold the thing up.
And another thing is, I was thinking that I could see in my images and stuff little square things on the side that would be appropriate to a cell phone tower. But anyway.
Yeah. So either way, it looks like her description is just spot on.
Sorry, my webcam went off again. And believe it or not, I think tonight they were installing an update with WebEx. But they reroute you to another area, so if you're having a meeting, you're still good to go. But I think my webcam is, no, I'm not using it in another application, so we're just not going to worry about it. That's trying to figure out how it works. But anyway, I just remember that patch. So sky feel area, surrounding area feels saturated, bright. Sky feels gray, possibly stormy. Something about the tower portion of this target that feels a little imposing. Tower portion, how about that? I don't want to go so far as to say frightening about this target that makes me feel like it is towering above everything in a dark sky. A feeling of isolation, like it is off to itself and quiet. Target feels much higher than anything in the surrounding area, like an overlook. And it is kind of, insofar as the other area, it is back by itself. It's you can't get to it. They do have a fence around it, a wire fence, like a city utilities or a cell phone, whatever you would want to name it. It does have some security. And she's making a comment. Let's see, Dave, cells got water towers like that in every smallish town in the Midwest. I don't know if they're water, I just saw them all over the place in Minnesota from the plane. Also, Terry says, my cousin scared me at a water tower when I was very young, and I am actually a little nervous of him to this day. Oops, sorry, didn't mean to give you one of those targets that scare you. We talk about that with all my students. Like, we don't mean to give you targets that scare you, but if there's something from your childhood or your, in your life, there you go. We just found one. Seems as though this target was built for the purpose of impressing people, as though it were built to convey a particularly strong meaning, element of exploration. Feelings of pride and power involved, and it is deliberate that the target is built near water, which may serve a purpose either for broader viewing or it has something specific to do with the water. She also has AOLs I thought were interesting of Monument, Christ the Redeemer, Lighthouse, Statue of Liberty, and Memorial, and a stairway. That's her first session, and then let me see if I can find her retasking. There we go. All right, so move to the assigned target, point A, and describe. And I did ask her if she thought she was in the same building, and she said yes, she did. She's got solid and have rectangular and thick. Now, I know, it's my analyst thought, I won't say AOL, but I thought she was describing those two front doors fairly well, that pair of doors. Two parts split, stone, wood or stone, crisscrosses on the front. She's given her a command, self-command, and I thought it would help with sight orientation. Turn and face the target and describe. And then let's see. Oh, this is her long session. She worked this, and in the end, I think she's probably got close to 60,000 billion sketches, at least. And she's really telling us about the direction and what it feels like the motion is doing. And then she's going back into phase 4 and practicing probing some of her perceptions. And now she's moved to point B, but as I said, she and I talked about it. She still thinks she's in the same building. Feels like something is sucked up in a tube. And she says she's not understanding this. Now here I thought that was interesting. If you compared the two structures with towers involved, tower or granary feed mill. And this is where I was hoping that the purpose and some of the perceptions that would be associated with what goes on in those structures might help people differentiate, because they all have different purposes. You don't get that in a location very often. Well, I guess you do, but.
By the way, this method of saying point A, point B, point C,
Yeah.
That wasn't my creation, by the way. That was things we used for very complex location targets in the military.
That's good to know. Purpose must get this off the ground like launch of something. Accomplishment, collective pride, multiple biologicals. She expands her sketches. Activity below ground, energy or force, raised platform. I'm looking downward, want to know what this is. grid-like. Move to the, and I asked some of the folks to move to the assigned target, describe anything I may have missed.
Did we lose Teresa? Teresa, if you can hear this, we can't hear you. So you may have, no, it says you're not muted. Open your computer and spit in the back. It works. Well, anyway, whoops, there we go. Until she gets back. The tall aspect here was, obvious. And the thing looked like that at one point she jumped from one of the tall towers to the other tall tower. And you can't always tell when you're doing that. And so things can get mixed up at times. The thing is, if you continue to just describe, and that's it. Here's Teresa, I'll bet you. Teresa? Yeah, Okay. Teresa says she'll be here in a split second. All right, she's doing some bootlegging stuff. So anyway, she got kicked off and she's trying to boot back up and get her computer going again. And I think she may have had to turn her computer off and get it started again. But anyway, I think you can see from the sketches there how when you have two different things at the site, that are extremely alike, you can start confusing the two in remote viewing. And this is very common. It's not something to worry about because even in practice and training sessions, you will have feedback and you'll have somebody who knows what's going on and can plainly see that you've jumped from one part of the target to the other. When you're in operations, the tasker will almost certainly be aware of the different parts of the site or whatever, and we'll be looking for details. And so when the tasker sees the jump like that, they generally tend to understand. It may confuse them. They may say, "Oh, which one is it that we're talking about?" But generally, if you continue on the session, we'll explain to them which one it is. So this is not really something to worry about. It's you know, it happens to everybody.
Look at you. Just I leave and you just take right over and keep on lecturing. How about that?
Hey, man, I tell you, just, you know, the queen is dead. Long live the king. You know?
Alrighty, let's give this a whirl. And again, I apologize. Rather than move the meeting, I did get a note from WebEx that they were going to install, you know, whatever patch or update or maintenance or whatever. And they've done it before, and we've had a session, and we get rerouted to another backup thing that they have or whatever. So anyway, no harm, no foul. We're all here. You guys can hear me, and oh, gee, I think Michelle's like maybe in charge. We'll see. I just assigned me as the presenter. How exciting, Michelle. Sorry about that. All right, let me get everybody's stuff back up here. And that didn't work out so good. Of course, I didn't type it in the way I always do. I'll switch back over to my desktop in a second. Lynn, since you're doing such a fantastic job with dropping those pearls of wisdom, if you want to carry on, I'm going to keep calm and carry on here if you'd like to jump in with anything or if anybody has any questions.
No, basically, I was just saying that, you know, it's very common that if you have two different things at a site that are very much alike, it's not uncommon at all for even experienced viewers to jump back and forth between them and get them confused. But the tasker in practice, training, practice, and operations, the tasker will almost always know what's going on because they have the feedback. Now, in research mode, you know, the minute you jump from one to the other, then you have automatically proved that none of this stuff works and all that kind of stuff, you know. But and in the real world, outside the lab, don't worry about it because it's very common.
Okay. I'm working my way down through these again.
Okay. Let me say that if you look at some of the military stuff that's been declassified, and it all hasn't, but some of the military stuff that's been declassified, every now and then you'll see like a set of buildings, a sketch of a set of buildings or something, and you may see on it A, B, and C, stuff like that. Or if somebody has been assigned, like the office is on the third floor of a building, you'll see like a hallway or something, and then you'll see rooms set off, and then you'll see A, B, C, and something like that. It's no different from just labeling one room number 1, another one number 2, and so on. But generally, when it's labeled A, B, and C, it shows that the tasker has done the labeling, because the viewer will normally use 1, 2, 3. So when you see A, B, and C, it generally means that room, the room that has A in it was of interest to the tasker, and so was task, and then B and C and so on, same as that.
Okay, I am still finding people's stuff. Sorry. We had a lot of sessions tonight. There's Michael's. I'm just looking for Michael's first one. Because it's here. Might actually have it, find it faster on my hard drive. All right, let's see if we can roll with at least what I'm looking at here, because there's a bunch of them. All right. Let me see if I can find Janine's again. Or sorry, looking for Terry. There we go. All right, so let's see if we can get through Terry's and hopefully get everything back up where I can see what's going on. We won't worry about the cameras. All right. Terry, there we go. She was starting to expand on her sketches and asking herself questions. Will it lift? All right. That's a really detailed sketch. That's what I was looking at when my system locked up. Oh, no, it was this one, actually. Let's see. Water tower Grano, same purpose. Duties labeling have a requirement of having some relationship to a prior session, or can point A be just anywhere, even unrelated to prior sessions, although point A is part of the target. Point A was consistent with the assigned target for this exercise, if that helps. It was the coffee shop. That was always point A. I'm not sure I'm doing very well with your question. All right. Oh, I know. We were further in. We're down to all of her sketches, and I'm not sure if she said anything about purpose that would have distinguished whether or not it was the tower or the granary. And Terry, if you need to make comments, I was thinking you've got a mic. I'm trying to scan these. You do have some touristy stuff.
You know, Teresa, is it possible to get additional photos of the granary somehow?
Yeah, I had them on my iPhone, and we might be able to do Google Earth and get you some better stuff here in a few minutes.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree. I apologize.
Because I don't know where I am either.
Yeah, I spent quite a bit of time. This is in the next county north from me. I mean, it took me 45 minutes or so to get there. So,
Oh, yeah.
yeah, they're all on that iPhone that I dropped in the water.
Oh, God.
Yeah, I'm so glad I bought that insurance because I'll replace it.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Okay. Did you in any of your feedback, because I skimmed it, I don't see anything that would describe for me the difference between a feed mill or the water tower or electricity. And by the way, Ronald Kuhn is here, who can run any of these facilities with his eyes closed and his hands tied behind his back. So anytime you would like to jump in, Ron, because he did that as a profession. Anything you want to throw in here about input on how these facilities work that would enlighten us, you just feel free. So, no, I don't have anything for you that in the way of photos for another couple minutes.
If I had to guess, it seems like the first session I was probably, and I think that looks like a water tower, I don't know. But the second, and then when I was retasked, it looks more like the granary, or it looks like some kind of conglomeration of all three of them. Uh-oh. Did we lose you?
Sure sounds like it, doesn't it?
Mm.
Teresa, are you there? We'll probably have the phone ringing in a second.
Okay. It was really funny with the session, though. It was like the whole time I was worried that it just really seemed like everybody was worried that something was going to tip over or not stay up straight or needed to be lifted up with some counter force against it.
Yeah. Well, you know, like if it's a water tower, the water tower, the tank itself is tons and tons of water, like 100 feet up in the air, supported by, I bet you there's Teresa. Yes. Okay, why? The They do their work on Wednesday nights. Oh, the the bootlegging thing. Yeah, yeah. Yeah. Okay. That's when it locked up. Okay. Michael Teresa was typing an answer to you, and that's when it locked up. Yeah. You may want to limit the number of windows you have open. Michael says, "Oh no, it's my fault." Yeah. Okay. Good luck. Yeah. Okay. Does anybody have any questions? She's headed back, log back on and just not open so many windows at the same time. See if that will keep from taxing the system on her end. Does anybody have any questions? Anything they'd like to talk about? I don't have I don't have any controls over this, so I can't give anybody microphones or anything. Okay, Michael said he has a question. I can't give microphones because I don't have administrative power here. How should the retasking coordinates be written? Okay, generally, when you have a project, it's always going to be the same project. Like on this one, 140212, and then your next line would be your viewer number. So in my case, that would be 018. And then usually 01, because this is the first time you've had this, this is the first time you've been tasked with this. Well, we're a project. Actually, you would have the question. And so if question number 3 is to describe point A, you would have 018, which is my viewer number. You'd have your viewer number. And then 03 showing that it's the third question of the whole set for this project. And then the first time you would get this, it would be followed by 1 because it's your first time to be asked about question number 3. For the retasking, it'd be 140212-018-03 because it's still the third question, but then it'd be a 2 because it's the second time you've been tasked with this question. Now, if you had completed all the information on question 3 and this were a project, and so she moved you to question 4, so then you'd have 140212-018, or your viewer number, 04, because you're being tasked with question 4, and then a 1 because it's the first time you've been asked to do this. Okay, and so when you move to another question on a project, it's not called retasking. It's called basically further tasking. If you want to get terminological about it, here you go. She's back and throwing all kinds of stuff at us here.
It sounded like a fine discussion that was going on that I missed out on.
Yeah, asking about coordinates and coordinates for retasking.
Yeah.
And, you know, on a regular project, you have the number of questions. And so I was just saying how the coordinates would go, and that if you've satisfied the requirements for one question and then you're moved to another, that's not called retasking. That's a whole new target.
Okay. I had not located Michael's first one, but I can go back to do that. Let's see. Here is Janine's. I'm trying to get yeah, actually, Michael, if I've got it pulled up, I've relabeled it. It should have your name attached to it. It won't take me but a second to find it. Now, whether or not I saved it and got it relabeled is the thing, or if I have to go back into an email and download it. So that's why I ask everybody to label them, and I think you do. Target, the word target, then the coordinates, then your last name on your PDF. And this time I actually had an inordinate amount of sessions come in with just numbers on them. And anyway, here is Janine's, and she is working in basic structure and did not want to be retasked. So she's taught herself for pushing a couple years probably, but just became an official student with the manual. So when you see her lots of multiple ideograms, she already knows how to describe them and so on. She tries to get really good sight contact, and we're helping her, just for the rest of you, trying to get those perceptions to start breaking through, because she's kind of hit a bit of a plateau. And she had a ton of gestalts there. Outside landscape of building, it seems bleak. Move directly to the target and describe. And she is also an extremely curious sort, likes to poke around inside buildings, and she's drawn to that. And she's also a big noun person, so she's trying to get away from being pulled off. Oh no, she's beating herself up, Lynn. We can all just shake our heads sadly on this one and move on. And Michelle always says, I'll have what kind of a large waffle with a lot of syrup or something on that. So you guys, you're all very typical. Let's see. Wi-Fi rising up, it's very tall, expansive, gray or metallic, uneven rises, it's busy visually. And then life forms of biologicals energy. They're biologically moving, joining by hand, turning and spinning, one pulling the other, one leaning over. Feeling of energy motion is present. Ice skaters is an AOL. Nice job on that, AOL, by the way. Try and not have anything. There's no line. Okay, you think you were at the Olympics? Good. They would be a pretty big draw right now, but there's no line above the session that you're on. So wherever this ice skaters came in, like if it came in after joined by hands, don't have anything on the same level. Make sure you give yourself some space and drop down. Okay? Hopefully that was clear as mud as I tried to explain that. All right, so she's already got ice skaters in her head. She's fighting that. We're moving down. We do have a structure here, 5 or 6 stories. It's got windows and rows, hard material, road type area. Yeah, there's road type area. Structure nearby, $5 billion in quotation marks. And 1 is someone sitting cross-legged on a hard surface who has long hair. And 2, difficult perception movement. as if someone, something wrapping around someone, something else, similar to hand over hand folding down movement like dance. She's still setting aside her AOL of ice skating. Target has aspects of man-made, natural land, biological emotion, appears to be a structure, appears to be very large with a wide flat area at the bottom, very tall. Now, where have we heard that before? And a very tall, vast dome-like top. Very good. Feels very expansive with a visually busy area between top and bottom. Man-made too, seem to be a structure about 5-6 stories high, made of some hard material. I think that perception with the dimensions might be a little off, a little sight orientation thing. But I think it's not quite that tall. Appear to have rows of plain windows across it near some type of road. Other structures not far away. Biologicals 1 and 2 appear to be moving together, perhaps joined by the hands, one pulling and turning the other. Seem to be in an open area with a feeling of energy present. Biological 3 appear to be sitting cross-legged on the ground, a hard, flat surface. And the land was hard, both inclined and flat in areas. Perceptions of gray, tan, and white. Other perceptions were odd impression of someone or something wrapping up someone or something else with an arm-over-arm type of movement. Okay, well, I am sorry about the come and go, and it kind of messes with our concentration. But at least we're all still here. And she's getting reddish color on a structure, maybe. And it was a red brick building. We've already covered that. So, very good. I'm looking over to see if Janine, who doesn't have a mic that functions, so if she's typing anything in. And Lynn, I know I buzzed through that really fast. Do you have any comments? Janine is trying to get those phase 2 perceptions rolling again. We've had a talk about that.
Yeah. I love the structure here.
Yeah.
She uses A and B, and then A1, B1, A2, B2, A3, B3, and then starts over again on the next ideogram, which is the standard way to do it. So it's very clear that you're starting a new ideogram and doing a new working of the ideogram. I know some trainers say if you finished one ideogram with A3, B3, start the next one at A4, B4, and generally if you do the A1, B1 over again, then it shows the analyst and everybody else along the line that you have started again on a new ideogram. So this is considered absolutely perfect structure, and it's good to see. I like this. The queuing and the parentheses and so on is just, this is neat.
Yeah, and she's been hanging out with us, I think, since we've begun this, and plateaued and started not doing as well. So we're hoping to get her going again and hopefully back to where she was and then moving forward. So
the plateau learning of remote viewing is a recorded phenomenon. I mean,
yeah.
it's been databased and all that. Generally, one of the things you look for when you're in the plateau learning is right before you go up to the next plateau, you'll have at least 1 or 2 sessions that are just pure pig slop, and it's an indicator that your mind is sort of reevaluating everything, readjusting its relationships internal relationships and all that. And so you'll have one or two really bad sessions, and instead of kicking yourself for those, look for them, because that's an indicator that very, very soon, I mean, within one or two more sessions, you're going to go up to the next plateau. And so just a little warning there that if that happens, don't get despondent. It's a good thing.
She says, Janine's asking what causes it. I think my son's in a power struggle with me. And Pat's saying, yes, that's what I meant about outtakes. Really horribly wrong session. And I'm just catching up on these comments. They weren't popping through when I first logged back in. Terry says arm over arm like making dough. Okay. Oh, Janine, you are not a bad example. Shush. Not a bad example. And Michael, let's see. I'm afraid to do too much scrolling unnecessarily here, but he's got his first session and his summaries right up. Target has elements of man-made, jagged, rough, complex, ornate, and angular. Colors are gray, brown, and red. Man-made has a circular ball dome-like shape. Ball dome is in two sections. I didn't pull that feedback up on this reboot, did I? Okay, just in case we might want to roam around. Circular ball, dome-like shape, two sections. Top section is dome-like, silver, white color. I think you went right to point B. It's very prominent of the. Well, yeah, feed mill is very prominent too. Top section is dome-like, silver, white color. Top section is complex repeating pattern that helps form the dome shape. Tall projections that come out of the dome shape. Complex mechanical crane-like. Projections have cable wires that attach to the dome-like shape. Purposes for support of the dome shape. Bottom section is flat. Section is darker brown tan stone color. Inside the dome shape is hollow, large. Repeating rows going up the inside of the bottom. Ambiance of a sports area or past Olympic Stadium. Oh, geez, you'll be following Janine. And if you get ice skaters, I'm going to think that there's a frozen pond around there somewhere. Structure feels like non-traditional in construction, like a buckyball. And he's getting Millennium Dome AOL in London. Maybe we should look that up. Does it look similar? And I'm just trying to gently, quietly scroll without getting into trouble in the backup WebEx environment. Now, in the olden days, that would be like looking up at a water tower from the bottom. This one's all enclosed. Olden days, I'm 59, pushing 60. All right, so I am going to close that and see if I can decrease some of our window. There we go, retasking, Michael. And I think I mixed the water tower and seed grain together. And Pat says sometimes you have to back up a bit to get a run up to jump a gap. Arm over arm like in a dance. Pat, I'm not following that, so I'll look to see if you can possibly.
I was just talking about plateau. So like sometimes the bad sessions, the really bad sessions.
Okay.
You need to do a few of them, as in just get to the rubber cherry system, and then you go on to another level. So that's what I meant by outtakes.
I see.
The sessions that were really bad, haven't
Okay.
seen them. That's okay. That's in the past. You know, if I can gap out to jump over, that's all.
Okay. Thank you. Michael, this doesn't tell me what I retasked you on. Do you remember? Was it a sketch or was it like a perception? Would have been in your email. Just points A, B, and C. Okay. Got colors of gray, green, soft textures, warm park-like feel. There's a tall gray structure to my left. Well, if you landed at point A at the coffee shop, that would be correct. The greenery is gray and it's tall, and it would be to your left. Impression of looking out a window and down with a tall gray structure to my left, tan color to my right, open area in front of the tall gray structure. Moved to point A. Point A had elements of reds, tans, sandstone-like. Yes, it did. That's the coffee shop. At this point, I drew a dome-like shape. Dome shape, it has impression of being part of the target, but not point A. Hard, complex, man-made, mechanical, and white. Move to point B. Long, dark, not well lighted, warm air, impression of vowels, guts of building. Hum sound, mechanical sound. Move to point C. Light green in color, high up, overlooking an open area, dome-like shape in front of me. Dome-like shape has projections on both sides of it. Open area in front of dome-like shape. Curved wall-like structures to left and right of open area. Another wall-like shape enclosing open area with opening on both sides. Move to most important aspect of target. White, spinning motion, whirring sound, small ball-like. Motion is circular. Motion seems to be on rails, on conducted somehow. And he has AOLs of Plaza, University, Clock Tower, subway tunnels, tube, underground, centrifuge, atom spinning, research center, large hadron collider, and CERN and observatory. Thought we might find some kernels buried in those AOLs, so I ran through them. So, well, we're all still here. Managed to make it through another viewer session without needing to reboot in the backup environment. So, Lynn, please comment. And Michael, do you have a mic? You do, if you want to use that. Any comments? See, you've keyed it up.
I like the move commands that, you know, on this, it was moving to the different points A, B, and C. What I was pointing out earlier is that, if this were an operational project, it would have questions in it. Like you'd get the overall project number and then question A, question number 1, describe point A. Question number 2, describe point B. Question number 3, describe point C. Question number 4, describe the history of the place, and things like that. On these being practice and training sessions, you're going to get information like this. There are 3 points. Just, move to them. And this is actually preferable for training and practice sessions because it puts the viewer in charge of the movement. And so I like the fact that Michael here moved to point A, moved to point B, moved to point C, and so on. And you know that you're not limited to those. Like you say, okay, move to point B. It's mechanical. O, move to the mechanical and describe. And so you can make your own move commands in these too.
I think I gave everybody an entire month, but it's kind of a lot busier than what I'm not saying that anybody wanted to get in, get out, or whatever, but I definitely gave them plenty to do.
Yeah. Hmm. And it's sort of a not a scary thing, but sort of a confusing thing. The first several times, you just take a viewer to a site and say, "Hey, do the whole thing, run free here." And
Yeah.
the viewer gets to the site and says, "Oh, what? What do I do now?"
Yep. All right. Michael did, Mike, no mic working. I think I've done more move commands at site. In the past, you mean? And I'm going to quietly click that off. Should have, I mean. Okay. Michael, I'm going to keep my eye on the screen if you need to type in comments, okay? Mojo, your sessions are usually several pages. I'm kind of a little nervous about scrolling at this point, so I'm going to, not ignoring you, but I'm going to take Michelle next just because hers is one session, three sessions, kind of, sort of, but I'm not sure how many pages this is. This is not a PDF. I actually saved it as a PDF. But anyway, just checking, no previews of coming attractions. And Michelle and I had a chance to talk. We're actually quite joyful that she's had a couple of issues that she was working through, and she's actually gotten some really good news. And I explained to her as she was working down through this that if you're going to take a break, you come back in. It's your site contact, but you come back in, hopefully in phase 4, if that's where you were. I mean, if you have to take a break before you get your AI in phase 3, I mean, things happen. But anyway, she essentially ran 3 different sessions, but we're just joyful that she had a chance to do those sessions and get in some practice. So rather than get into P4 and take a break, you're going to see 3 different sessions that I'm just going to run down through. And she was trying to explain to me last night, which maybe I'll watch, about interim summaries for her, Lynn. She's trying to get a good handle on interim summaries and how to make them work for her. And she does have a tendency to write in sentences instead of perceptions. She's getting better with that. And some of her big sentences where she's storytelling are kind of sort of actually interim summaries half the time. So anyway, if this might not be a bad spot for you to explain interim summaries when we're talking about her sessions.
Yeah, interim summaries sort of came out of the fact that there is another sort of non-Ingo way to express, oh, that's neat, express perceptions, and that is with run-on sentences. And Ingo would call these, well, we wound up calling them stage 2.5, stage 3.5, stage 4.5, and so on. The thing is, once a person would start using run-on sentences, you couldn't get them back into structure. And so we found the simple thing that if we call it an interim summary instead, they would write the summary, quit, and go back into structure. So the terminology actually helped very much. And in an interim summary, you can do either the outline form, or you can do the run-on sentences and run-on paragraphs and all that. The thing you have to remember if you do the run-on paragraphs and the essay type summaries or interim summaries is that at some point you really need to quit doing the sentences and go back to simple perceptions, because as you do the sentences, you automatically create castles, AOLs, and all that. You can't help it, which is one of the reasons that Ingo stayed completely away from run-on sentences. Once the sentences start making sense, then you're going to trap yourself into an AOL or building a castle or whatever. And so for an interim summary, it's not bad at all to do paragraph essay type work. But you have to remember that at some point you have summarized, and when you start remote viewing, you know, you're writing your summary, and as you start remote viewing while you're writing your summary, it's time to end the summary and go back to remote viewing. And that's the trap that people fall into when they do the essay type interim summaries. I hope that was clear, and I hope it helped.
All right, so here's that. I was kind of gently trying to maneuver things around without getting into trouble again. I thought that for point A, this wasn't a bad rendering of a building with double doors with windows and windows on both sides. We've got some 3D going on down the side here, showing that we've got sides on this building with windows on the sides as well. And she's got a school bell. I said school bell, my bad. It appears to be a bell drawn inside of a window here. We do have a shape of it's the locomotive on the sign above the door. But the thing being, you know, naming and describing, no, but the shape and that there is an object above the door, yes. So white surface is drippy, smooth and cold, mixture like cement or stucco, but different. There's a slickness to the touch. Dimensions feel much bigger than earlier. Simplicity of lines or something is misleading. It's more like 3 stories high, inside is barn-like, outside is almost church-like. And loading, unloading is at the back. She's demonstrating the back opening, and there's a walkway. And then conveyor belts and large hooks, like antiquated pulleys. And she says she's interested to see what is nearby. And she did not have time for a retasking, but gee, imagine that. Teresa would have liked to have her see what is also nearby. Teresa also. So I went to see the surrounding area at the sides of this target. And she did this without knowing that we were moving her if point A and point B. She did not get that with the original tasking and coordinates. So to the right of the target is a little shop. And they sell basic items of food and various sandwiches. Now there's more of a quaint cafe with soup and sandwiches, cookies and cakes, very small place, bistro tables for 2 on top of each other. I think that's pretty accurate. So if you work on the interior, the tables and stuff are in the middle and around the edges. Law and justice to the left of the target. If there's a police station, I don't know about it, but so then she did another session. I can't remember from our conversation if she just thought she was done and then had more time and came back, didn't really mean to, or how this exactly came about. Said she was having a blocked ceiling, so she's restarting. Oh, Allman Brothers, Stray Cat came in, Allman Brothers tied to the whipping post. I don't think I know that song. I'll have to play that on YouTube now. And there's a stray cat of a windsock and a sketch up there. From the north, this curves out to the west and then east towards the target. Feels like a road. Looks like water to me at first. Stray cat tops of ships as in many Navy vessels. Trying to get down to her sketches and any AI. I'm here at a pair of 6 metal doors, hard to open, slow to open, curious to see what's here. First is empty, then people were filling in like now it's time to start. So actual form of this man-made is like the innards of a prison's open space area in a main center, that kind of configuration. So she's comparing it to her, it's like a prison. Metal mesh, safety, actual walkway with metal stairs attached, at least 2 stories below. I'm up high looking down in a deep open area that I came from. Then she's makes a comment, no idea. And then we have building, I'm not sure. I'm looking to see, Michelle, if you have anything to say or comment on what we have, these widening circle type crescents. And Michelle hasn't had a lot of experience moving the P4 yet. This is very good. Moved right in, hiding something.
Great structure.
Yep. Let's get busy, see what we can do here. Oh, she feels nervous and not welcome. Somebody at the site is feeling, let's get busy, see what we can do here. She's working on dimensions, half the city block, surrounding curve, 2 stories high. Doing good with your words in the column there, ma'am. Some of us struggle with that. Strategic use of purpose, strategic use of command post oh, that's a new word, I think. Facilitation, no, it's not a new word. Teresa can spit it out. Summary, target has aspects of land, man-made, motion, space, biologicals, and water. Land is on the outskirts of the town area near a rural area, grassy, open, and field-like. Main feature of the land surrounding this target, gentle sloping curve barrier, almost mounded natural protrusion. Man-made sits alone, is a long-range visibility vantage point, utilitarian design made of cement, metal with glass at the top. Form is squatty square bottom, small square with highest part as lookout or tower shape, 3 sections in all. Man-made tall walled shell of a thing with not much on the inside. Floors are smooth, cold, and gray. Abundance of metal material as gates, walkways, and stairs. Motion was that of stabilizing, pulling together, clarifying, and the messaging back and forth was about commands and grounding. Subtle motion that's more constant, it's about holding, opening, closing, watching, waiting, walking, pacing. Motion of people meeting and informing as well. Space is secured, enforced, special access area. It is a waiting area for something on movement, briefing on movement. Space functions as a bell tower in connection to safety. Biologicals were young males, and by the way, this is a very old building. There is no schoolhouse in its background that I'm aware of, but if there's trains coming and going, maybe it could have had a bell. I don't know that it had a bell. Bell tower in connections to safety. Biologicals were young males in their 20s and 30s, dressed in uniforms, relaxed style. Biologicals seemed duty-bound, protocol observant, studious observers, good at reporting. They felt like guards, but without prisoners. By the way, this was used, this was a connecting hub for the railroads, and we did have research on this target before. And so there was quite a bit of involvement with the Civil War and I think maybe World War I. The water was very large, dark color body of water to the high northwest of the target. 2 holding tanks at the man-made, a creek or brook, yes there is one, runs north to south, can't confirm that, at far east edge of the target. Way south is a large lake with main focus on recreation. Way south, there is one way south. There's a big reservoir way south, but it's in the next county. So I'm not too sure how much way south measures, but I'm just saying there's at least one that I know of on the northern part of Clark County. So, all that being said, for somebody who was having difficulty cranking out sessions, you did a pretty good job. Better than pretty good. I'm waiting for you to start beating yourself up again, as usual. You just don't do it on camera.
She's just going to have to beat herself up for not being even more impressive. Tisk, tisk.
Yeah. And, you know, I know because I'm tasking and setting this up and some of these folks are students, I know what goes on in the background, and it's not easy to do these when you have a job or family or health concerns or technology problems or just doing it when you can through the month. And I'm always so impressed. Look at, you know, well, probably need a lot of syrup with this waffle, and look at this sketch, you know?
Let me give you a personal war story here.
Sure.
In the unit, I was still in training, and I had gone through over a month of just dog food sessions. I mean, really, you know, the dogs wouldn't eat these sessions, and just really, really bad work. And so one day, Brian said, "Come on, we're going downtown. Put your suit coat on." And we went down, and I found out on the way downtown being DC, I found out on the way there that he was going to have me do a demo session that was going to, you know, decide for some senators and all whether they were going to fund us for another year. We got funded 1 year at a time, by the way. And I mean, I was in one of the worst slumps you had ever seen. Just if I got like 25% accuracy on anything, it was cause for celebration. And we went down. I did the session, aced it. And, you know, my subconscious said, okay, I'm going to quit playing around. I can do this. And I mean, just totally aced the session. And it helped that senator fund us. And so we went back to Fort Meade, and I finished out about 3 more weeks of just vomit type sessions. I mean, they were really bad. But when the crunch came, my subconscious said, "Yeah, I can do this," and gave me a good session. So, you know, you're learning to give your subconscious authority, and when the crunch comes, don't worry about bad sessions, because you're not going to have one. Anyway, that's my war story. Just wanted to relate this because just about all of the other viewers have had a situation just like this. Neat stage 6 timelines, by the way.
Mm-hmm. He's not here. I was just trying to gently scroll through his session. He actually had an advanced visual of train station. So that's the history of that target of point A. It was a train station. So yeah, he is using a lot of P6 tools. Move to the target, same move command, describe locations, target surroundings that will help pinpoint the location. Box a line in a circle. Move to the target, tasker's intent. Gonna have to talk to that guy. Move to the tasking. So then he included his WebEx thing. So he had his summary up at the top in the outline. And I'm trying really hard not to do things really quick. But, man-made is located, the natural is located outside, off-white, tall structure like is delicate but strong. Metallic is black, flat surface, white-green patterns that are rectangular and clusters chaotic, sandy, solid, massive. Pointers up on the top, small object that's metallic, military field, energy-related, connecting, has a Y shape. Under man-made, location dark, hidden, closed with sounds of barking, place of meetings, business, and nature. Has when observed from 100. I didn't catch, maybe that was a move command 100 feet up. Triangular shape, it's yellow-white. It's surrounded by 4 other structures. One's blue, rectangular, one's long, flat with a line. In the middle, across, one has shape of laying down the letter L. Her top is black and rubbery. Most interested area from the tasker's point of view is green, pointed up. Pointed up here is big, surrounded by other structures, has European feel. With bios inside, it's crowded. Bios smell present, fresh bread, coffee. Oh, bingo. I guess they might have coffee at speed milk. Something to do with predicting colors and games. What stands out, 95 meters tall, pink top, flat round line. Vertical split at the end, making the shape of a letter, silver, long, moving, sideways, transmitting. Purpose of the man-made is research and medical. Religious, manufacturing, generating power. Electrical, converting fuel, making movement in lines of items inside. Elements that will allow to pinpoint the location. Tall, cylindric, shiny, will be visible from a distance on a sunny day. One by the other, one is thin, the other is wider. Sound, small planes, frequent, close above. There is an airport not far away in this little town. Smell of bread, cookies, and flowers. Location is close, it stores, man-made. Machines, vehicles, big, cleaning purpose. Another location, closed structure, related to transporting people, movement, man-made on tracks. One element at the target has water, moving, making sound, dripping. Silent was a man-made oval made of rocks, shaped like cubes, irregular, that are lined in circles. And dusty, loud sound of children playing, something to do with entertainment and humor. So I really like what's going to make it pinpoint the location. Tall, cylindric, shiny, will be visible from a distance on a sunny day. One by the other, which I'm thinking is the feed mill. One by the other, one is thin, the other is wider, sounds. So anyway, either way, a lot of good information. And he's not here, but Lynn, if you wanted to have any comments. I know we didn't, and I was really...
I like his understanding of the outline format. And also down there where he was trying to get the cylindrical form, that it tapered on top and rounded on top, and he X through that, redrew it, X through that, redrew it, and finally got a thing that was more cylindrical rather than conical. And this was a simple process of him saying, it's like this, and then looking at it or feeling it and saying, no, it's more like this. And he did a light X on the one that he was rejecting and then redid the whole thing. And that's a good thing to do when you sketch. It was this session, wasn't it?
I thought it was. There we go.
Yeah, there it is.
Yeah.
But see how he kept refining what he was getting, and he finally got the cylindrical shape with the flat top, and left it at that. But this is one of the tricks that you can do when you get something but you don't quite get it and you feel, that's not quite right. Lightly X through it and do it again, and get a better feel for it. And you do that each time you do that, you get a better feel for it. And what happens is you wind up with a sketch that's much, much more like the target than what you started out with. So that's a neat trick you can use. By the way, another trick you can use if you want to practice this type of thing, this exact type of thing, get Google Earth and zoom in on some part of town that you're not familiar with, or on some little town nearby that you're not familiar with. And once you zoom in on an area, print it out, put an X on top of one of the roofs, because you're going to be looking straight down on it. Then do a remote viewing of the interior of that building, and then get in the car and go there and get your feedback. And you're actually acting sort of as your own beacon for a beacon exercise. And I think you'll be very pleasantly surprised at a lot of the stuff you come up with, because this is a very good way to practice exactly what Teresa is giving you here.
By the way, here's just an example, and we need to move on again. With that advanced visual, he had a train station. He decided he was going to do a P5 on that. Purposes man-made, looks like cleaning. Another unique feature is an underground train station, old train station. So if you P5s it, prior emanations, structures to transport people in the city, man-made, moving on tracks. And it does sit right next to a railroad track. It was a train station. All right, and then Mojo's session here. And then John Stewart. John never usually stays late. He comes and sees the feedback, and then he usually has to go. And then I'll try and get some Google Earth going. I don't know if you guys want to stick around for that. It's already 10:30 here. Mojo's session, which he is learning at home on his own, and he was one of those people he took, 4 months ago? This paper would not have had any white space on it. So he's learning structure, and he's doing very well. Coordinate ideogram. We need to work on getting his IAB sequence after each ideogram, but he has come a long way already. Giving himself move commands and trying to stick with describing one thing at a time. And I am trying to scroll down to his summary. And he was asking, I don't know if it was this target, the one before, if there was any advice on how to not get like 70-page sessions. He's like, everybody else gets done in like 15, 20 minutes and takes me forever. And I get all these pages, but it all seems good. And I said, you're the viewer in charge of your session. And I don't remember what else I told him.
Yeah, and okay, long sessions are good. I'm going to answer this. And then I'm going to change my answering machine to say,
I'm scanning this. I didn't look to see how many pages to see how far the summary is. Summary, here we go. And one thing, Mojo, is I really would like to get you to the point where you're working in phase 4, and that way everything is not, it's in a more structured reporting environment. So hopefully you're picking up a lot of stuff already, so I'm hoping that we're going to see that too. A lot of phase 7s, that's not what, it's not what I need to see. It's not what she wants to know about. Get back on target, go to the right place in time. And we had a little talk about, he gives himself commands like, don't doorknob on me. And I talked about neutral wording and trying to keep it positive and not using loaded words. So Lynn's on the phone, and I don't know if he can catch any of that. So
it's not always bad. We tell beginning students don't doorknob because they get stuck. But actually, when you're more into more advanced stuff, you're after details in the session, and so doorknobbing is not bad. What's bad about doorknobbing is the getting stuck. If you can doorknob without getting stuck, hey, doorknob away, because it's great because you get good detail on it. And the more you focus on some one aspect of the target, the more it's going to pull you into that target, the more contact you're going to have, and the better you're going to do, and the more accuracy you're going to get. But like I say, for beginning students, they have a tendency to get stuck. And so that's why we try to keep students away from, beginning students away from doorknobbing. But it's a good thing. It's a tool that you can really use to get some good remote viewing done.
One thing, Lynn, he had asked me in an email was he tends to, I won't say chastise himself, but it's kind of a negative, a tone of instruction to himself that's negative. and we were trying to talk about neutral wording and stuff in the email exchange.
How would you like it if somebody always just did that to you? You wouldn't. Well, your subconscious doesn't like that either. And so, the thinking we just call this a mess and move on and stuff like that, you're not only hurting your viewing, you're really hurting your subconscious mind's feelings. And, you wouldn't do it. You wouldn't do it to your kids. You wouldn't do it to your friends. Don't do it to yourself. Because it does. It does hurt. It slows your progress down. And, it's just like they say, the best way for raising kids, it's a very hard way, is to ignore anything negative and always praise the good, because that makes them want more good, and so it makes them behave better. But if you're constantly fussing at them and belittling them, and that's the only attention they get, then hey, they're going to keep doing bad in order to get that attention. Well, your subconscious mind is your inner child. It's the same way. Praise it, reward it, give it chocolate every now and then, and it's going to do wonders for you. But you sit there and belittle yourself and do all the negative bit, you're not only hurting it, you're hurting yourself, and you're hurting its feelings. And you don't want to do that. Just stay away from that stuff.
Okay,
All
something
right.
there?
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Hello. I was going to say, it may look that because I put summaries first, it's nice and typewritten and headed up on the lines.
Oh, Pat, you're fading.
It may look as though I'm getting the target straight away because I put the summary first on the typed part of my session. It's not the case at all. That's the last thing I write on the handwritten part of the session is a summary. I just present it first on the typed part to say to the tasker, here's what I think it is. And then they can go check the rest of the session. Because we're only really interested in the summary usually, especially for training.
That's true.
So it's not the case that I'm instantly getting the target in all the detail. I am going around. I would write down every single thing that goes through my head, but then I'd be writing 50-page sessions as well. So in a sense, the 50-page session is a stage some people go through just to help them resolve their inner conflict of, is this right? Is this wrong? How does it taste? What's this shape? And you have to work them out on paper. Some people can do it naturally, great. And once you've resolved all those conflicts, it becomes more easy to just say, I know this about the ideogram. I'm going this base. That suggests this. It's like building up from minute jigsaw pieces, the big picture. So don't think I'm getting these targets straight away and just because that's the first thing I read. It's the other way around. Okay?
That's a perfect explanation, and you're doing it exactly right. And for everybody, if you have any question about that process, when Teresa puts this up, on the web, listen to that part over and over and over because he's exactly right.
I was going to say, he kind of acts like he might have done this before, Seriously. That was a compliment.
Yeah. What do you call it? A ringer. Yeah. We got us a ringer. We got us an expert.
Yeah. He's slanted.
Yeah.
All right. So let's see. Mojo's summary. Movement. Biologicals. Motion. Biologicals. Connecting. Movement. Biologicals. Man-made. All right. Structures. Purposeful. Simple. Foreign. Old. Worn out. Yellowish. Brown. Cream colored. Tarnished. Has intellectual aspect to it. Has something soft and gray. Partitions. Stand upright. and has it actually does, two aspects of sound. Also, like, sounds like seagulls are around, silent, is amazing, is outside on a hill, big open space. Yes, it is. Big has arches that are large. Yes, it does. Monumental has courtyard feel to it, outdoorsy. Floors hard polished, smooth, finished, almost like marble. Marble part's wrong, but if you go with perception, they're hard, polished, smooth, and finished because they're wood. We saw that in the feedback image. Has tiles that are big squares. They're not tiles. Tiles is a noun, but they do have their flat. I wouldn't call them big squares, but let me get back to where we were. Seems to have something ritualistic about this ambiance of an indoor big building. Famous, elegant, masterful Italian artist has fields nearby. Something concave, rounded reflectors reflecting a shine, something navy blue. Card, enormously big, has overlapping energy, may be used in worship of some sort. Stage time, there is, oh, strange to me, sorry. I said people here, they give a good warning, something mellow, caring but witty at times and can be nasty and obnoxious. Gee, that's a good description of a group of people. Humble at times. From a long time ago, foreign and hostile. Prosperity, fortune, rich, has arches with empty space, filling something, them, for purpose of being an opening. Has advanced management held together but breaking apart in an unfavorable way in order to make something they were a mistake and misled by wise men. Then togetherness, group of people laughing. Famous and strange to them, but seems familiar. Knowledgeable people involved, hosting with pride. You know, it seems familiar only that you've been listening to these webinars and I thought maybe you had come across this. I don't think you worked this target with us before because you haven't been with us that long. Hosting with pride, enforcing something at times when needed, as seen in thief size. Hard form, brittle in places, falling in others, and crumbling down. We're still talking about the building. Swaying from hard, strong winds when they came. Lots of wind blow on this structure, wearing it down and refining it. Has black, silver, has ownership, rich fortune, lots of cash deposits. Rural, set apart, has partitions, dividers dividing it. There actually was a partition here. Let's get that back up for a split second. See where these bags are hanging? I don't know if anybody's going to count that with me, but there is a partition there. What I term a partition, which is a noun. Dividers dividing it. It's pretty. Hard work went into it. Hard walls like plaster. Nature in the background, hills and sky. And the building has natural in the background. Trees, water, hills, mountains. The inside is bright, well lit. I hear chant grace. Simple, pleasurable, has solid structure connected to it. Something here has wheels, rolls, moves, turning around. Active circular movement. Permanent and reinforcement. There are dead bodies of some sort in the surrounding, complying with a myth. As far as I know, there are no graveyards close by, but every site has a history. People involved are contradicting, mistaking right for what's wrong. I can't talk to them or they'll lie to me again. Has something golden that was missing found again. Botanicals blooming, multicolored, that are healthy. Needs reservations, tall, in a foreign country far away. And And he's picking up stuff. Had a robbery at one time. There's a huge history with this building. Can't say that I know of any robberies at the time, but not anymore. Has people here. Getting some repeats. Pastels and blacks. Rocky brickwork, cement. Kingdom people there have a winning attitude. There are people getting in and walking around. And so then he did try a retasking, which I am trying to remember exactly what I retasked him on. Mojo, if you get a second, if you could type into the text chat area, I can't remember what I retasked you on. Let's see how many pages we had here. And he's got a sketch with numbered perceptions. I'm trying to figure out what this one is right here. It looks like a perfume bottle. It's not, but I'm just trying to describe the general shape. All right, so he's made sight contact. Now he's given himself a move command, move to point B. Hey, if you were on the top of that tower looking down, Lynn, look at this shape with the bumps. Heavy prone, round, helping a lot, history point blank. Very windy, spotted, rocky. Lively, energetic, ball shape. Going into phase 4. Skimming. Venetian blinds. I know that you wouldn't say that that's Venetian blinds, but you know what I'm saying? Look at this tower and think about how blinds are, vertical blinds, not horizontal ones. Think about the pictures. You're reconstructing a picture. Sorry, I'm trying to move this stuff. Pictures from perceptions. And he says it's in front of them. Masterful, artistic, futuristic. Move to the assigned target. Describe anything I may have missed. I didn't see a move command to, oh, there's C. I'm sorry. C is masterful, fun, artistic, futuristic, final attempt, last change, and he thinks it's wonderful. There's a brick fence, which I didn't pick up. Heavy surrounding, natural pitfalls, private escape routes, on an angular tripod-like shape, black down, dark, rough. Structure as framework, systematic, progress is documented. Teamwork, aggressive, happy. I think somebody else got something similar to that. And he had a P7 of a last call he heard a voice. Okay, and then he did his move command, anything he might have missed. There's water on rocks, sky and birds flying. Fresh, clean smell. Then I'm just looking to see how many pages of summary. He is a prolific viewer. Messy at times. Length is silence. Replica. Something to do with science. Slow event. Event feeling. Need reservations. It's hard, solid, and slick. Gives him a feel of, I don't think that's Indiana. Indianic. An octagon that's black and shiny. Bigger than it has to be or should be. It's hot and stuffy inside. Some of it is wet and slick and slimy. Something here that moves, it's wobbly, lowers itself, has a lever. Smoky smell like turpentine chemicals. It's white. Seems to have been something like a group play 10 years ago. And now it's point A. Point B. That's good. Thank you. It's heavy, spotted, light or dark, has a closed opening, intentionally done to get this effect. It's prone, watery, cold depth, subject to change and adaptive to change. Stagnant air, changing around, alleviating pain, numerous problems. Place has history, old, boring, outdated info, being diagnosed and reorganized. Something here is live, something seems to be running on its side. And point C is artistic, futuristic, masterful, fun. There was a final attempt, a last chance with a beautiful outcome. Not sure exactly the documentation of that. With a beautiful outcome. And fruit and trees and brick. Flowing is up and running. And the angular tripod shape. Had a break in summary before point B perceptions, undocumented, therefore resume time is unknown. I'm sorry. Oh, thank you for sorry. At least you knew and you picked up on it. All right. Huge session, Mojo. And for somebody who's, like I said, just coming here and hanging out with us, and he has been listening to these webinars over the last month and is totally doing this on his own. And if you'd have seen his session work 4 months ago, it's a huge improvement already.
Fantastic.
It really is. I mean, he was one of those people you just had just one big solid line with 5,000 words, line after line after line. He's really changing up how he's writing. I'm going to go to Google Earth real quick. John's not here. I will make sure to get his session on. Well, this is not the retasking. He actually misread the instructions and just kind of retasked himself and moved around on his second session. He didn't pick up the point A, point B, and point C thing.
Is he writing on both sides of the paper?
I have never asked him about that, but yes, I'm reasonably sure he is, because absolutely every one of his sessions looks like that, and he does good work.
Yeah, if you know, they noticed the session 2 sessions ago, it had data printouts on the back of the paper. And
I missed that.
You could see it through the paper. A lot
What was
of
that? Do you remember?
It was 2 of them ago. It was I don't know if it was Michael's or not. Anyway, a lot of people just save paper that's been printed on one side, and they turn it over and use the blank backside of the paper as their remote viewing, for the remote viewing. And there's nothing wrong with that if you want to save paper. Some people will tell you that the information on the other side bleeds through and pollutes you. And if you let it, it does. If you don't let it, it doesn't. So, if you want to use the backside of sheets of paper for scratch paper and doing your sessions on them, go ahead and do it. Just don't let anything on the other side of the paper act as a pollutant to your session.
I've been scrolling down through this, and he does have man-made as aspects of a vehicle like compact, 10 feet long and 200 pounds. I can't vouch for that. There are vehicles there with an engine that's powered. And the only thing is, it is on a bike trail. I was kind of hoping that maybe. But metallic hard smooth surface wheel, 2 in number, rubbery circular, one behind the other. And instrumented fun ambiance on land in motion, element of competition, exciting, recreational ambiance, and family oriented. The coffee shop with that bike trail does fit those things, but I don't know about the size of the vehicle and so on. Motion has aspects of rapid, one direction, horizontal, and rising. Land has aspects of sloping, rising, outdoors, stony, rocky, rugged, path-like, trail-like between the trees. And bio has aspects of tall, more than 100 feet, more than one, many, and thin. Thinly, one on both sides of the land, branch-like protrusions. Airspace has aspects of outdoors, cool temps, and cloudy skies. Dates of April of 07, for whatever reason, propped up. Then, just see if I can get his recast real quick. I mean, he sent it in. Yeah, he went to all the trouble to do the session and send it in. And his email said it was his recast session, so I'm hoping, yeah. So unless he confused our recasting with something else he had going on. But here we've got it. He's expanding on the park-like, fun ambiance and festival-like. Moved himself 50 feet horizontal from the humans and described. And he's got bright, reflective, square, and flat here on his sketch.
What he's doing is he's turning the page over. Go to the page above that, and you can see that sketch backwards bleeding through. So he's just using both sides of the paper.
And he has always done that.
That's not a problem.
All right, here's his summary. Man-made 1 has aspects of structure behind water, hollow, tall, 2 stories, brown exterior, roof-like top, glassy openings, large rectangular, more than one. Behind signage, metallic, rectangular, smooth, shiny border, silver above ground, attached to a pole. Vertical, metallic, inscription, name. We've got Ted Herringer and Todd Herringer. I don't know those folks. Fun ambiance, recreational ambiance, and museum-like ambiance. And the motion has aspects of rapid, slow, horizontal, walking, repetitive. Land has aspects of outdoor, stony, path-like, flat, hard, patterned, squares, and segmented. It's gray-brown. Bioorganic has aspects of human, more than one, adult, male, female, motion, walking close together, tourist ambiance. Sunny skies, outdoors. Shadowed portions under the man-made 2, park-like ambiance. Human voice sounds, festival-like. Man-made 2 is angled, overhanging, above ground. White plastic ribbed, thin-walled, cover-like, tall, two sections, artistic ambiance, near water, and man-made too, being tall and ribbed, and that tower, it has that pattern-like appearance. Water has aspects of circular, pond-like, man-made, shallow, bubbling portion in the center, surrounded by man-made, ring-like, stony, block shape, more than one, many, white, man-made 3 has aspects of sculpture-like, tall, 275 feet, dark color, bronze, weathered, circular portion. Near the top, open, see-through, square portion on the top, reflective and shiny. And that, he's got, even though he didn't follow the retasking instructions for whatever reason, he told me he's been really busy, he's been doing operational work, and he admitted to me he's tired, so I think he might have overlooked that. But if you were to look at individual set perceptions, I think he got a lot of good ones. All right, let me see if I can get Google Earth fired up here. Try not to do anything too fast. Let's see, it's come up already. Done this before. Be able to zoom in without too much. There we go. All right, so here's Google Earth before I get it down on Street View and start whipping us around in circles. Orienting myself. All right, here's the tower. And geez, I'm backwards, side orientation issue. Must be the feed mill. Must be the coffee shop. Something doesn't seem right. All right, well, let's just get down there. There we go. Oh, great. I hate when it does that. All right, here is the coffee shop. Right here, we're going to try and get a better look at the feed mill, which is here. There you go, Miss Terry. There is your ground view of the granary feed mill. I see a red brick building between. Actually, it's clear over here. And this building, this red brick, does not truly sit in front of the tower. And there's the coffee shop. And there is a hill in the background. It's really, actually, there's a decent sized steep hill up here where the railroad crosses over. And as I was explaining, over here is a stream. And way off in the distance, there is yet another feed mill down there. Okay, so there you actually have a street view confirm of what things look like. And who did, I think, Terry, you had that detailed structure with the base and everything around it. So I'm not sure if you feel like any of this matches for you. I think there's a lot of correctness possibility. You're welcome. We've been at this for 3 hours. I know we had to do some booting and whatever, but sorry it was such a long night, everybody. But there we go. That's it.
Never apologize for a good attendance. It means that things are working well.
Yeah, I'm always happy to see a lot of sessions. I know it's going to be time consuming, but hey, when else do we get to hang out together, you know? Next month, don't be in a rush to do that target. I haven't chosen it yet. I'll get right on that. Next month, we do have Lynn giving the presentation about 3D supplies and how you can use those in your session. Things like clay and blocks and Legos and sand. There's a great article about sketching in, I think you might want to check issue 3 of 8 Martinis, because Mike Shinneberry's submarine target is featured in that one, and I'm not too sure who else, but it is a really great session, and you should see his clay rendering of that sub. It's spot on. So Lynn said he's going to really enjoy having that topic to discuss. And then in April, we have Angela, who's going to be speaking on everybody working together on a project using CRV, ERV, and adjunct methods. And in May, we have Rob Abbott, who some of you know from the remote viewing community, who will be speaking on increasing your sensory perceptions. And Rob is deaf. He's going to be having someone sign for him on the other end. He has a lot of precog ability and also electromagnetic in his background. There have been videos made where he's moving dowsing rods with hand movement, and he, I think, got all the cards in a deck of cards between red and black right, except for one. Opted not to do that on WebEx. I wasn't sure the camera would pick it up very well. And other than that, Yeah, you have your coordinates. I just don't have your target chosen yet. Or if anything like an activity, I have one that I actually, it's on my, I know what it is, and it's on my iPhone. I don't think I've sent it to myself, so I haven't actually stuck it on a pristine piece of paper, but in my head, I know what the target is. Please do not access my head to try and get your target information. So anyway, I know what it is. So I will get that on a piece of paper in by Saturday. By Saturday, you will have your feedback page set up, and if you want to start working the targets. Hopefully we'll do this again. Well, without WebEx doing updates, hopefully, and I hope to do it again too. So it's late, and I think we're at 3 hours and 5 minutes. So it's time to say goodnight, John boy.
Not Mary Sue. I never can remember the right name on that one.
Mary Ellen.
Mary Ellen, that's it. Good night, Mary Ellen.
Good night, Jason. Good night, John boy. Good night, Grandma. Good night, Grandpa. Good night, Mama. Good night, Daddy. See you guys in a couple of weeks.
Yeah. Thank you for coming. We'll see you later.